Hey guys, it's Carl Brown from GuitarLessons365.com. Got a classic from Bad Company today. We're gonna learn how to do Feel Like Makin Love. So this was a little weird actually when it comes to what's going on with the guitar track, because there's two different tunings being used, even though I'm just gonna be using standard tuning for this, this tutorial. But the original song, we have an acoustic guitar that's in standard tuning, and then when the electric comes in for the chorus, we have an electric guitar that's in standard tuning, and we have an electric guitar that's in drop D. So you hear that, there's basically in this tutorial, there's gonna be one note that we're not gonna be able to get, is that low D when they hit that final chord in the chorus. But you can kind of cheat that when you have a regular D major chord with the fifth and the bass. It kind of makes it almost sound like you're playing that low D version of the chord. So I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm gonna keep the guitar in standard. Obviously, I'm just gonna do it on an electric too. Not gonna worry about switching back and forth between acoustic and electric, even though the verse sections are mostly on acoustic. All right, so now before I get into it, please subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Ring the notification bell so you know when it's a new video. You can kind of like and comment on the lessons. That really helps. And if you really want to support what I do here on YouTube, I'm telling everybody, the best way to do it and make sure that I can keep doing these lessons is to join my Guitar Academy, and that's going to allow you full access to all my courses too. So instead of learning songs on YouTube, you can actually learn a lot more about music and guitar in general. There's courses for complete beginners and more advanced courses on technique, improvisation, ear training theory. I'm live every weekend there with just Academy members on a live stream. So it's a great community I got going. Free 7-day trial by clicking that link below. And so I hope to see you there. So let's jump into this. So like I said before in the beginning, you're gonna see them play a lot of this in drop D on the electric guitar parts, but the acoustic guitar parts, not really. But you don't really need it. You can get away with it with just playing it in standard. So that's what I'm gonna be doing here. And so let's start here for this little intro here on acoustic or a Strat, wherever you want. So that's gonna start up here. So first of all, we're gonna have the D string underneath this, all these chords. And on top of that, we're gonna play this D triad. So we're gonna have, to start it, so we'll have the 11th fret on the G, and then you're gonna bar the 10th fret across the B and the high E. Then move that down 2 frets. So you're gonna play that, which is a C major triad over D. So you're gonna start that open D. Then we're gonna go down to the G major triad, still have the open D ringing, so this is a bar from the high E string to the G string, and you're gonna have the 8th fret there on the B string. So you play that, it's gonna hammer on 7 to 8 on the high E string, and then back down to the regular triad, so this. Sorry. Then we pretty much repeat that, except here, you're gonna immediately, when you get to this G triad, you're gonna do the hammer on from 7 to 8, and then back down to 7, then the open D string, and come back here and grab a regular D major triad you learned on the first day of guitar, I'm sure. So we have this. And that be the intro. So then we're gonna get to this verse. Now this verse, there's a lot of hammer-ons going on throughout these chords, and like I said, this is on acoustic guitar. But you can hear it go down, this is in a standard tuning, because you can hear it go down and grab this low G note in there, which is just kind of a standard way of playing a G major. So that's how we know there's a couple different guitars, different tunings being used in this song. But for the verse, we can just do something like this. So it's pretty simple chords, but they're moving kind of quick, and there's a little hammer-on action going in there. But the hammer-ons are not consistent, so you can choose sometimes just to kind of just strum the chords and not do the hammer-on stuff. and sometimes you can add those fills. It's really kind of up to you. So the chords themselves, let's look at those first. It's just a D major chord. Then it goes down to a C major chord. So a standard C major, and then a G. Then back to C. C is done real quickly. That leads us back to the D chord. So it's just kind of a 4-chord progression like this. So without any hammer-ons. All right, so that's without all the fancy stuff in it, but if you want to add some of those hammer-ons, you can start with this first D chord. So you kind of hit the chord, and then you lift up the note that's on the G string, so it's an open G, and then hammer it back down. So D, then when it goes to this second chord, C, there's typically not a lot going on there. You can do that if you want, but then it gets to the G chord. So it strums this a little bit, and then we have this kind of hammering on the open A, hammering on 2, then you pick the open D and the open G. So this. And then it's a quick transition back to the C, which you'll see them do by, they basically hammer on 0 to 3 on the A string. And when they do that, grab the rest of the C chord, kind of pick across it. So we have this. That's just all they play, and you jump back to that D chord to start the riff over. So this. And from there, just repeat. All right, well, like I said, you don't have to do those hammer-ons every time. They're kind of mixing it up and adding some variety in there. All right, then we're gonna kick over to the distortion. Like I said, in the original recording, there's 2 guitars here. One's doing kind of a normal G, like you'll see me doing here for a lot of the riff. And then at the end of it, you can really hear what they're using, a drop D guitar. And that, we will have to do a little slight variation on it. So, but it's gonna sound pretty close to it, so it looks like this. All right, so close enough, right? So it's the riff itself is kind of based around this D major chord. So they're hitting a full D major here in the chorus all the way until the end of the song. When we have an extended chorus with a guitar solo over it, when it gets to that section, the riff, it's not going to be a full D major. It's going to be a D power chord. So we'll talk about that when we get there. We're going to start here with this, picking the 3rd fret there on the kind of palm muted on the A string. And then the open D with the 2nd fret there on the G. So you have that 2 hit first. So the 3rd fret there on the A, palm muted, and then the open D string along with the 2nd fret there on the G. From there, just go to the D major. Try this. Repeat. So do that 3 times. From there, we're going to do this. So it's not the standard C major here, it's a C. They add 9 there. So we're going to play the 3rd fret on the A string. You can have the open G, 3rd fret on the B, 3rd fret on the high E. And then take this bottom note down to the 3rd fret on the low E string. You have the open D in there as well. So all together. Repeat. So on the fourth time through, the ending is going to be this. So that right there, that note there was on the drop D is actually pulled at the 3rd fret right there, but we're not in that drop D. So you got to jump back here and do it at the 1st fret. So we have this, the C add 9 chord hit twice, and then you're going to take this, move it down 1 fret to the 2nd fret down on the A, and then have the open D and G there. So everything else stays the same. Play that, and then come back here to the 1st fret and slightly pull that down. And then jump up here real quick to the D major chord. And to make this sound like you have this, the low D string there that we don't have, you can kind of give it the illusion that it is by having the open A string underneath this in the base of this D chord. All right, so it's just a way to kind of cheat that part so you don't have to have two guitarists in different tunings. Or you can just have a guy that's playing the open D and then and drop D, I'm sorry, and then you're good to go. And then from there, we just go back into the verse and the chorus again. And then there's this little musical interlude section, which is just, they're kind of working around in D major over the verse chorus. So I'm not gonna kind of go through that. It's kind of a harmony thing. I got different harmonies. It's very short, so it's not really worth covering. And then we get to the verse again, and then the last chorus. So this last chorus is extended, and it's slightly different from the first choruses. Now, the reason why it's slightly different is the guitar solo, which I'm not gonna go note for note in the solo. I'm gonna kind of give you some kind of ideas of what he's doing and the licks and stuff and the patterns that he's using. But for this solo, he's actually, so we had this kind of riff in D major all the time, going to this. But the solo is in D minor pentatonic. So he's playing D minor pentatonic. So in order to make that work, when they're doing the riff in the chorus, they don't add that F sharp there. They don't make it a D major chord. They just make it open D, 2nd fret there on the G, and 3rd fret there on the B. So it's just a D power chord. Kind of repeat this. So after that bit, back to the beginning riff. Okay, so that's the only thing that's different. Just not a full D major chord, so it'll actually work over this the solo. So what is he doing in the solo? So it's basically based out of 2 patterns. And so this kind of solo goes on for a while. Not a huge fan of outro solos, as you guys know, especially when there's singers. There's all these vocals going on. There's little random kind of fills that keep going and going and going. So instead, I thought it'd be more valuable just kind of show you what he's doing. So he's basing this around D minor pentatonics. This is why they can't play that D major, do it over the D major. So the main form, he's using basically 2 forms that he's using to do this solo. One is the common minor pentatonic that everybody knows, but at the 10th fret. So it's 13-10 on the high E. Same thing on the B. And then 12-10 on the G, D, and A. And then 13-10 on the low E. So he's basing some of the solo out of that. But he also plays a form in front of it. He does have a chromatic line in there, by the way. But so that first little, you hear him up there a lot too. So this is the next form up. Kind connects to that pattern. So this is going to be 15-13 here on the high E and the B. 14-12 on the G. So it's D minor pentatonic, just these two forms of D minor pentatonic basically. Then 15-12 on the D and the A, and then 15-13 on the low E. So it kind of starts around just so we're just messing with those. So little licks you'll see, like you'll hear this. This kind of, when he starts the solo, kind of that bend up at the 15th fret, then play 15-13, over to 15 on the B. So you see that lick a few times, and you'll see him. So that kind of unison bend there where he's bending the 13th fret there on the B, and then hitting the 10th fret there on the high E a few times. That's how that form. But you'll hear these double stops when he starts getting aggressive with it. And that's the 14th fret there on the G and the 13th on the B. And you can see that's just come out of that. So that is all he's doing. He's really just kind of messing with his. Just mess around with those two forms and you'd be good to go. He does have a little chromatic line at one. Just kind of, let's be able to use 13, 14, 15. I really didn't work on transcribing this solo, but I heard little bits and pieces of it. But you can tell it's kind of built out of those two patterns. So for that whole ending chorus, just have fun doing your own kind of improvisation. It sounds like what that guy's doing anyway. And as long as it's over this D5, the D power chord and not the D major chord, that D minor pentatonic will work just fine. All right, hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you again soon for guitarlessons365.com.